So I've seen a lot of conversation in the comment section of the tier list video, the overall podcast video, and actually other videos that Jolder's not even showing up in, just talking about how Jolder is undervalued, misplaced on all sorts of tier lists. I don't think it's just us in our conversations we've had, but I've just seen a lot of conversations with that. So Floss, as someone who is a renowned Jolder enjoyer, you were kind of giving me some indication as to why she may or may not move in some conditions, why that would happen.
Yes, X. I just think that her kit is a lot of fun. I love Jolder. I love to play as Jolder. Being able to throw her shield around, people call it a trash can lid. It's a lot of fun to watch it like plink through different enemies, 5 times, and you recall it and you can hit them all again. And then also her massive Skyfall Slam that you come down and you can land and hit a bunch of enemies. And then her shield, like her ultimate, I believe it's called the Barrier Starlight or something like that. She can put that down and you're basically invincible in it. And if you have max overshields, you're just building up more retribution stacks. She's a lot of fun to play as a solo character, but she really struggles to find her place in high-end content because she doesn't have the same damage output. Unfortunately, I've had a lot of practice with Huckleberry trying to figure out how to get Huckleberry to be good. That exotic is just underwhelming as an SMG.
That's gonna heat some people up, brother. You know that, right?
Yeah. It's just Arc Runner is a better SMG all around. Or not Arc Runner, Risk Runner. I'm sorry, Risk Runner. It's just a better SMG all around. It's kind of situational though, because you have to be fighting enemies that have arc damage. If they don't, then it's really not good. And Partridge Sky that we all, just got if you're being active and you're doing your daily bounties and everything like that and using your pinnacle energy, it seems a little underwhelming. The heavy attack and the blast damage that it does, and like the being able to shoot, shrapnel at enemies, I've oftentimes found it buggy to where I just don't even bother using it anymore. It's just not good. But ultimately I opt to use 2 mythic weapons because all the exotics are not very great.
Interesting.
They kind of struggle. The Delphi Kolfiev Arc SMG outshines everything SMG wise. It's way better than the Wolf Pack, and it beats Risk Runner and Huckleberry in damage. And I've spent hours in the firing range trying all different traits that I've had on her rolls for that SMG, and it's all around better. But like, as far as a character to play, she's a blast to play. In my head, she's an S tier. In my heart, I'll always love to play her. However, unfortunately, she's definitely A tier, and toward higher end content, she just doesn't have the damage output and the speed of clearing stuff. Since this game is so heavily made it a time-based thing, where clearing fast, getting high score, and being done within under 5 minutes, she doesn't shine there. And there are other Void characters that are better, like Gwen. The only thing that could make her good is she can have, Arc, Solar, and Void in her entire kit as viable play options, and she has Rapid Fire and Impact, which only 3 legends total in the game have that, so you have some variability there, which is the only reason why I would lean to putting her in A tier. Early game, she's S tier all the way. You don't need a lot of copies of her for your talent tree to be good. She got a lot of survivability, and she can do okay damage early game, but late game, as people build out their artifacts, she kind of starts to fall off. She kind of plateaus, and I'd almost move her down to B tier if we're making a tier list on high-end content.
Yeah.
She struggles to keep up. I think her exotics need a little bit of a buff for her to be S tier.
Gotcha.
For late game content.
I gotcha. So let me ask you this, because you teased it. If you're using 2 mythic random rolled weapons, what are you looking for on these weapons?
The Void Sword is by far the best. It does the most damage from what I have seen. The Arc Sword is very underrated. I've used her Solar Sword in Legendary campaign where there's solar shields, and I have to deal with that because you don't have a viable primary that's solar. You only have Void and Arc. So the Solar Sword's okay, but the Tacalic is definitely by far the best for the mythic swords. Okay. I think until we see Partridge Sky get a boost, I don't think I will ever use that. It's just unreliable too many times when you use the shrapnel, and I'll be looking straight at the enemy, and I'll use my heavy attack, and the shrapnel will go up left and way past the enemy and not hit the enemy.
Yeah.
And it's like, why? Why did that happen? I literally, if I'm playing with a controller as well, and it's like magnetizing your, the static aim assist is pulling you into the enemy, and you still throw it and it misses. And it's like, what? That was the whole point of the weapon.
Right, yeah.
The CLY2 Void Sword, the Cacalic, by far the best. Annihilation, Dismemberment, what the game recommends, is amazing.
Okay.
You're keeping high damage, the lower the health, the higher the damage with exotic mods. Dismemberment is also really great because each light attack, you can get additional heavy damage on your next charged heavy attack, increased damage there. It's all around just a better sword than Partridge Sky.
Okay.
As far as primaries, the Wolf Pack, if you get one of those, just immediately dismantle it. It's absolute garbage. I've had Annihilation and Glutton, Annihilation Hyperemia. I've tried my best to use those. I haven't had exotic mods on it. I haven't wasted putting exotic mods on that weapon, but I just struggle to do damage with it.
Okay.
However, the Delphi Kolfi, if built correctly, so if you have Fraternity and Target Lock, or Annihilation and Syncopation, and it can't be Annihilation and Target Lock, because if you're using Target Lock, it's only best with Fraternity and Frenzy. And Frenzy is situational because you have to be in combat for 12 seconds for that to proc. But Fraternity and Target Lock are amazing, or Annihilation and Syncopation, but you will be hitting far harder than you will with Huckleberry. Maybe once we hit a climb 25 and we can max out the Huckleberry Catalyst, will it be worthwhile? It's just Delphi Kulfi hits 150%, almost 200% harder when you get max stacks and got your mods on correctly and you're using Annihilation. Like, you'll hit 3,000 to 4,000 damage a shot at really fast fire rate, especially in your ult, which is the whole point of Jolder, is to just ult and unload infinite SMG ammo, or if the enemy is in your shield, go to crazy with the heavy and light attacks on your sword. Delphi Kulfi build, if you do it correctly, and you're using it with good mods, you're going to outshine any other exotic SMG. Unless, of course, you're fighting arc enemies that are hitting you with their arc damage, then Risk Runner is better. But Delphi Kulfi in almost every other situation is going to be better.
Gotcha.
It outputs so much more damage.
Awesome.